Good morning. It's your boy Mike Nice the Barber. We are back here once again with the morning check-in. If you're not checking it out right now and you happen to see it a little bit later, type yo in the comment box just to let me know you tapped in. Leave a comment, say something, man. Say what's up. Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, Twitch, Rolls Royce. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram. We are out here once again. Great morning. It's Monday morning. Charge your battery, get up, get ready, get started. You know, share it, like it. Don't forget that part either, man. What's good, man? Good morning, good morning. Uh, Back from spring break. That's what's going on. Back from spring break. Yo, TikTok, good morning. Um, Back from spring break. Got to exhale on that. It was a long week. Long week. Um, got a chance to see some of the brothers I haven't seen in a good while at home. You know, that was real good. So um, that was good, man. Recapping, reset. Had to come home and I got a few things I got to do around here, and I just got to get on the ball. I got to get back and get right, get better. Yo, good morning. What's up? What's up? Yo, we checking in, man. Getting it together. So if you ain't start what you're supposed to be starting, we hit the reset button and let's get started. Let's get going with writing down your goals and all the things that we need to do to get started to the next level because none of us hit that 1.3 billion. Somebody in Oregon hit it one ticket, yo. If we had one ticket, Rolls Royce, we had one ticket, I definitely could change the world. I definitely could change. I can change. I can change. I can change it, man. I know I could because that amount of money, good or bad, I can make a change. I don't know. You know, I'll try my best to do good and to make sure that we have more and sustain a little bit better. Child of God, I know that. Now I was thinking about it and I was just saying, dang man, I'll probably get like 600 million out of that. I'll take half of it and don't touch that. You know, that my kids gonna get that. Live experience podcast. Good morning. Um, my kids gonna hold on to that because who knows what type of $100 million investment I'm going to try to get with 50 Cent and invest in something to make it extra. So, you know, we could get out here and do a few things and make it happen. You know, that's what I want. Um, I'm gonna tap you in 1 second. Um, I just feel like I could change the world. First of all, if you got that amount of money, you can do a lot. They could do so much with that amount of money. I'm telling you. Hey, I need y'all to need you to start tapping into Facebook so we can get on camera there too. You know, anybody feel free. It's Malcolm Warden on Facebook. Yeah, I would change, man. I would change a lot. I would change a lot for a lot of us, and I would definitely like you're supposed to take 10% and blow it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna pay people to work like to make that curriculum for your rock for the school, homeschooling and stuff like that. Pay people to structure things, give them a couple of dollars. You know what I'm saying? That nobody's getting ready to retire off of it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm working, everybody's working. But we definitely gonna have more of what we want. You know, in my mind, I think I kind of know some of the stuff that we want, and I'll be with it. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Royce, if you ever want to get in over here, Ebony, good morning. You ever want to get on Facebook, you know what I'm saying? Start tapping in and I'll send you the link. I'll send it to your phone and you can just tap it. You can just tap in and be over here. You know what I'm saying? And Instagram could rock and roll and we all can intertwine. But I want people to start coming over StreamYard. I'm podcasting StreamYard, and I can get a lot of people on at one time. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool like that. I like that. Eb, good morning. I was in New York, man. You didn't never tapped in. I missed you. I didn't get to see you this trip or maybe next trip. You know, just to, you know what I'm saying, hugs and meetings, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, you know, I got my Prince was there. I got to see him, like, even though I know him, but I haven't seen him in a while, so I got a chance. Twin, what's up? Good morning. You ever want to tap in, Twin? I need you to tap in sometime too. I'll send you the link whenever I get on in the morning. If you up and you up for it, you know, you always have like great things to say, and you know, have a strong opinion, and that's what it's about, having a strong opinion and being able to debate it without getting mad. People getting mad, so you don't get mad. You know, you make sure you get your point across. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what we doing. Auntie, good morning. We out here. And I was going through a few things this morning. You know, I'm a social media person, and well, what I mean social media person, like it's like TV for me. So I'm always scrolling through social media, scrolling through, and I've always picked from things that strike a nerve and that I'm usually have questions about. You know, I usually have questions about it, and something bothered me today, so I'm gonna put it in on the banner so you can see it. So no, that's not the one. Hold on. That ain't the one. This is the one. What's going on with the kids in school? That's what I want to know. Like I'm watching the kids in school with the phones, right? And I'm watching the teachers lose it. I'm watching the teachers lose it, man. The teachers they don't have the patience. And I can see that. I can see why, right? Because a lot of kids are disrespectful, right? A lot of the kids are very disrespectful. Um, they don't have good home training. A lot of the kids don't have good home training. You know, it's a lot. And it's a lot for the teachers to go through to have to deal with their regular, normal lives, even though they took the job, right? So we know they took the job, but they have to learn how to have more patience because it's hard with these kids, especially in the hood. You know, we all, not all of us, but a lot of us came up and we seen some kids were good and some kids were like, I ain't gonna say bad, but some bad, but some were moving around, can't sit still type of thing. And that's hard. You know, the dads aren't in the homes. That's a whole nother topic. So we're not gonna talk about that today. We can talk about something else. We're gonna talk about this. We're not gonna talk about that part. You know, broken homes. Let's say that. Broken homes. Um, it's just no respect all the way around the board. And then the teachers are fighting. I'm watching the women fighting the girls. And I'm watching the students not listening. They on their phones. You know, stuff like that. Chris, good morning. The balance is unbalanced and the math isn't mathing, right? And life is life. And so what's happening? Yo, good morning, man. We're gonna check in, and we're just trying to figure out what's going on. So my question is, what's going on with the kids, right? call me Professor Pootie Tang. um, it's tough, man. I don't know. So you know, whatever I think about, you know, I want to talk about. I'm bringing it to our community, right? This is our community that we building. I'm bringing it to us, and like, what can we come up with answers? You got students acting grown, want all the smoke from a grown adult, right? You want that, but I don't know, man. Yeah, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. I feel like, I feel like it needs to be the first of all the schools need to have the phones where you can't use the phones in school, right? That's a big distraction. So let's not even get into that. That's my personal opinion. You don't need the kids don't need those phones in school like that. They don't need that. Ricardo, good morning. We don't need that, right? Um, and we need to change the curriculum, right? We was talking about that last week. We know that, but how can we get? I mean, do the teachers need to take new certifications? Do they need change? Do they need a patience pill to take? Have patience. Like, what do we need? What's going on? So I don't know. It's not only a lack of fundamentals, but core values. Like what though? Like what core values? See, twin. This is why I need you to. That's why I need you to tap in, man, so you can say something. You know what I'm saying? Oh, good morning. Um, Rock, you want to tap in? Um, all right, I'm gonna send you the link. So, L, you brief on grief. So, L, you familiar with the Beans and Pancakes morning show? Good morning. You familiar with what's going on in the schools and how the kids are acting? Besides the schools being gray and looking like a prison. Besides that, right? The way that the teachers and students are interacting, it's bad, and I'm trying to figure out, some clarity and some light to it. We bring some light to it. That's a tough one.
No, my answer in short is just a breakdown in society. So the reason why I say that is I remember when I was in school, particularly like grade school, first, second, third, those grades, right? There was a greater trust among parents and teachers. So I remember one time my gym teacher of all teachers had hit me with a ruler.
Rock, send me your email address.
Ms. Hutchinson was friends with my grandmother. And
text your email address in the comments because nobody can see it. Nobody can see it. So,
and she woke me home.
Put your email address. I'll send you your email.
My grandmother. I don't know what they were talking about because back then kids didn't sit in grown folks' conversations as if they was grown. But a lot of that, like it's a whole. I don't know. To me, I think it's just like the parents are different. Parents are different with what they tell their children.
Rock, you can put it in right now when you commenting. Put it right there.
Children to disrespect adults.
Nobody can see your comment.
Right, as opposed to saying if an adult says something to you that you don't like, you don't
send it to my messenger.
Let me know and I'll address it. I think that has gone away. I just think that everything is different. Like it's just it's weird, it's different, it's strange, and I don't know.
Yo, Prince, good morning.
Good morning, y'all.
You know what's going on? Keish, good morning.
When your grandmother's 35, what do you expect a mother, right? That's not to say that there aren't some young mothers who can teach and raise their kids correctly, but I don't have an answer for that one.
Yeah. All right, mute your phone, L, for a second. Yeah, I kind
You
of,
about to kick knowledge or something?
of course, always kicking knowledge. I kind of agree. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think that one is there has to be some type of adjustment. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays the parents are not really classified as parents with their children; they're classified as friends. You know what I'm saying? So when they come to the school for, like, say, if they get called to the school, they come into school to check the teacher and not and not really look into the problem. You know what I'm saying? They come in as, as friends with their children. You know what I'm saying? I used to go into the schools a few years back. I used to go into the schools, particularly 72. I use this for example. I used to go into 72, and I saw so much going on in the school. First, when you first walk through the door, there's a metal detector there, and there's school safety, so it looks like a prison. Then when you get into the classroom, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like you said, kids is on their phones, Mike. The teacher had her back to the class. She was on her phone. There was a whole lot going on. And I realized that the teacher, one, we have to give them a lot of credit because they have just so many roles they got to play in the classroom. They're guidance counselors. They're playing the role of a parent. They're playing the role of a correction officer. They're playing the role of therapists. They're playing all these roles, and they don't start teaching until about 2:00. They can't get to teach until about 2:00. And we spoke about this last week. Our children are in the schools more than they with our parents. You know what I'm saying? They spend more time with the teachers than they would the parent. And the teachers is raising the kids, but they have so many different personalities they gotta raise. So we gotta give them credit where credit is due for taking the job. But some of them just take the job for the salary and not for the reason of being an educator. Because you got a difference between teachers and educators. I think I come across a lot of educators in my life who impacted me, but I also came across teachers that impacted me as well. But there is a difference. You know what I'm saying?
I think
when it comes to, go ahead.
I think teachers come in with it saying that they want to help, but then they get deflated. Just like some police come in and they say, yo, I want to change, I want to make things better. But then they get caught up and they lose their passion for what they wanted to do. Now you have some teachers that really, really, really want to teach and help the kids, but it's bad parenting. Like you say, they disciplinarians. They're trying to teach.
I want to make something clear. Else in the beginning, he said it's a broken system. It's only in poor neighborhoods that this happens. It's only in poor communities. This teaching problem, this school educational problem, are not in well-resourced neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? This curriculum thing is only happening in the fucking Black and brown communities.
But it's behavior. It's behavior, though.
No, it's because of the resources. It's because of the conditions of the people as a whole. You know what I'm saying? It was happening at home. It was happening at the workforce. It's not made enough. Disenfranchisement, facing racism, all these things that the parents go through as well. Then it goes into the schools. The schools are well funded. They don't have the same, like, man, it's
but I don't understand. Yo, Steve, I don't understand what that has to do with behavior. Like the lack of respect for between each other.
You don't understand what living in a certain area has to do with behavior?
So, Mike, here's the thing, right? In this manner. So, what's her name? Dr. Joy DeGrew. I might be able to explain. Dr. Joy DeGrew had
Brown Bro.
She did a talk. Part of it is in the book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, but she also did a talk. You can Google it, which the name of it is Empower the Children. And she talks about children who come from like broken homes and things of that nature, or just come from neighborhoods that are under-resourced. A lot of times results of generational trauma, things that so behavior doesn't. You look at it from what I'm getting from your statement is you're looking at the behavior just in the classroom, but it's an overall, it's connected to one, history, two, the household, three, the neighborhood, and then the student and teacher relationship. But in her talk, she talks about how one day her daughter came to her and said, "Mommy, it's some kids outside the door. They looking for," I can't remember her son's name. So she said they want to beat him up. So she goes outside and asks the little boy, like, "What's going on?" She was like, and he said the little boy was like, "I want to beat him up because he looked at me." So her being a doctor, she says, like, what happened to this child that you would want to beat somebody up for looking at you? The eyes are the windows to the soul. So, and yo, it's a whole bunch. But she also talked about how when children walk into a classroom and they don't feel connected to the teacher, they tend to shut down. They tend to be less receptive of what's going on in the classroom. And then, they're young. So they're going to start acting out. They want to be the class clown. They want to, you don't want to impress the girls. They want to impress their homeboys and stuff like that. And it's just the way society is. It makes it okay that, like, the structure. I wouldn't. I'm not a big fan of beating your children. However, I do believe in discipline. And because now is parents have been discouraged with disciplining their children, that they're afraid to correct bad behavior. That grows and that is exemplified outside the house.
Okay.
So kids, you're talking about a 10, 11-year-old kid in a classroom. If there's no structure at home, I don't have to really respect my mother or my father, or even if my father is there, or you understand what I'm saying? Why would we even expect them to respect another adult?
Okay, so now in school, right? So that happened to me before plenty of times. I want to fight you. This is a grown man, 20-some-year-old man. When I was on the boulevard, I want to fight you because I ain't liked how you looked at me, and I'm like, I'm not fighting you over that. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Like, come on. What you trying to prove? It was something else, right? Mm-hmm. And we seen kids in school, I seen. So I went to Andrew Jackson, right? Andrew Jackson was one of the worst schools in Queens, right? First school with metal detectors in the city, right? So there was one teacher. There was a male teacher. He had the respect of the whole classroom. He didn't have to. Those the kids that were saying, "Yo, I want to fight somebody else for looking stupid at me" or something like that. They wouldn't do that in his classroom. So it's a way, and these are high school kids. These wasn't a 10 or 11-year-old child. So it's a way to do it. I know the homes are broken. Like, for the people who don't know, it's a lot of issues out here with broken homes. That's why this behavior is like that. But how can the teachers connect better with the students from broken homes? How about that question?
The first thing that they can do is show them that they see them and that they care about them. She talked about that also when and just like right now at your age, if you're talking to a person who you don't feel a connection to, or you feel like doesn't have your best interest at heart, you're less likely. You may listen to them, but you're less likely to absorb what they're saying, as opposed to somebody who or you feel like loves you and care about you, and they're sharing something with you that they're saying, look, this can be of benefit to you. They're trying to teach you something. You'll be more receptive. Like, let's say you in a some type of vocational school, and you go there and the instructor is an asshole, and like the way he talked to you, you could tell like he don't give a fuck. As opposed to somebody that instructor who takes their time and you feel like this instructor is really concerned with whether I get the information, whether I understand it. There's a difference. So now, at our age, we recognize the difference, and we're able to articulate that, right? But then, let's take a young person. maybe not in vocational, but just in school. It's the same concept. Children need to feel connected to the person who is giving them something, who's trying to educate them. If a child walks into I don't care what age it could be an infant, where they able to pick up on somebody's energy or their vibes, and they like, yo, this person doesn't like me. They're gonna be, even a child who knows is different. You understand what I'm saying?
Yo, Steve, what up? What's up?
Oh, good. You want to ask Steve something?
That Steve had something he wanted to say.
No, I said it. It's the environment affects the person because it's like the conditioning and the enabling of these bad habits, right? Whereas, like, welfare and stuff like that is enabling people to have kids, and you don't need to, depend on yourself and go out there and work and stuff like that. But instead, you could just sit there and collect on welfare and stuff, and it'll condition people. It's like, oh, why go work? Why go out and be better? Why get more? I can
Rock,
sit here.
You didn't see the email I sent you?
Get by, or like, the one parent household. It's people are not saying that it's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, the kids are seeing it like, oh, my dad's not around, or my mom's not around, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they thinking that the one parent household is normal, it's okay. Or it's just like when a child grows up in an abusive family, right? If they see when they're young, they're thinking like, oh, that's okay. When daddy hits mommy, that's okay. And then sometimes it messes them up. And when they grow up, they end up beating their wives. You know what I mean? It's the same concept. It's just generations and generation of the system conditioning the poverty neighborhoods to do that kind of stuff. And they need that. They need us to be in poverty neighborhoods because they need somebody to do the dirty work. They need slaves.
So I want to address a few things that Steve just said. But first, I'm going to ask you a question, Mike, because we went all the way to high school. We got to take it back to elementary school, where that's where the behavior starts at. So you don't just become bad in high school. The behavior starts in elementary school, right? And my question to you, Mike, was, have you ever been to school hungry? Have you ever left your house and was hungry and had to go to school and go through an entire day until lunch to eat, right? This is what's going on now. And it's not because people don't have food in their house, because parents might have to get up early in the morning and go to work before their kids go to school. Or the parents is oversleeping and they're not making, like I watch Aisha every morning make a bag, like a snack, and get the kids something to eat before they go to school, because it's important that the kid is not hungry when they walk into that classroom. And this is some of the simple things that teachers are dealing with. Now I want to address something that Steve just mentioned about welfare. First of all, welfare was created a long time ago, and it wasn't created for blacks. Welfare was created for white wives whose husbands were in the military. You know what I'm saying? And they wasn't expecting them to come home, so they created this thing called public assistance. So it's not really welfare. It's actually public assistance. Actually, some people do need the help, and it can enable people to want to stay home or not. But the majority of people that's on welfare actually work. They actually use it as an addition to what they need, because they're struggling. The world we live in today, we're struggling as a society, and we need any type of assistance. If I can get food stamps, like, you got people that make good money and they say, "Yo, I wish I can get food stamps," because we still struggling. You know what I'm saying? So that public assistance that people get as another addition of income to help with what's going on is part of what we need in order to fucking help our kids succeed, because kids is hungry. Kids need snacks in the morning. Kids need something to eat before they go to school. Kids need some orange juice. Kids need apple juice. They got to wake up and there's only water and an apple in the refrigerator.
Yeah, but that's not the only reason why. That's one reason.
Mike, one of the reasons why kids are having behavior issues in school because they're hungry.
Okay, that's one reason.
Issues. One of the main, like, these things about.
I'm not gonna say I don't agree with that as the main reason. I just don't agree with that. But I know that's one of the reasons
kids is having behavior problems in elementary school is because they're hungry. I told you I was going into these schools and I'm watching these kids These kids are hungry. You go there, you bring, like some of the teachers when else are the connectedness, when they teacher bringing a pizza or the teacher bringing sandwiches and they're not supposed to, and say, yo, hey, go in the corner and eat that because I know you didn't eat. I know your parents is on drugs. I know your father's not there. Hey, go in there and eat this. I know that. There's a connectedness now. You know what I'm saying?
No voice on her said it doesn't matter how we grow up, it's a choice. We choose to be the best for or the worst. Brief on grief. Teachers can provide a safe space for those kids.
Hold on. So you like, and this is the problem that
let's bring the voice on. Let's bring her on. I'm gonna drop off.
I'll drop off. This is the problem that adults make. They give the responsibility of an adult decision or adult required behavior to a child. We're talking about grade school kids, right? And we could go into childhood brain development. Like, some are going to be 22, 23 years old until your brain is fully developed. You take unnecessary, you're unable to fully comprehend the consequences of your actions. Like, this is scientific evidence, like to back these theories. But right, you like how does as an adult a 10-year-old gets held to that standard? A 12-year-old get held to that standard. A 15-year-old get held to that standard. A 17-year-old, 18-year-old get held to that standard.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This TV down.
Thanks for tapping in.
Let me just introduce her real quick. No Voice Unheard is an advocate. She's in the Bronx. She's one of the leaders of anti-gun violence and youth development in New York City. She works very hard, tirelessly every day to make her communities better. She's always on the front line for families who lose their families in gun violence. She does the unpopular stuff. She's not one of the most popular people in New York City, but she stands on her own and she does what she has to do to take care, what needs to be done in New York City. So
where at in the Bronx? Where you at in the Bronx?
I'm everywhere. I'm not only in the Bronx, I'm in all 5 boroughs.
Nice.
The reason for my comment was because, sometimes I get a little frustrated when I hear people say that when you have a parent on drugs, you have a parent that didn't do well raising you're that way because of your surroundings. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? I think it's all a choice, like I said. It's who you hang out with, it's what you surround yourself with, and it's what you choose to be in life outside of what the norm is. You know what I mean? We can't keep making that excuse on saying because you grew up in the projects, just because you grew up poor or any other condition like that's why you're like that. No, we have choices.
But that's when you get older. What about in the moment?
Hold on. No, I want her to finish because
transferring drugs different states at 12, 13 years old. You know what I mean? So no, this didn't start in high school for me. I started seeing this stuff about 12 or 13 years old. You know what I mean? It starts in junior high school. 8th grade is mostly when it starts. You know what I mean? I think we need to really understand that. And that's why I think that we have so much crime, because we don't realize that it's happening in 7th grade, 8th grade. Most of the crimes that are happening now are under the age of 18 years old. These kids are being coached and taught how to use a gun and how to create this violence, because once they get arrested, they're not going to do time. They're going to be out by the age of 30. So, that's just my opinion. And Prince, I don't really speak too much. I don't get on people's platforms like that, but I chose to, jump into this live today just to give that, because, and also a lot of people give opinions without physically being inside of putting their feet on the ground. Yeah. You know what I mean? Instagram is one thing, and actually going into the community is another. And unless you're in the community and unless you're there when a child is shot at 13 years old, I don't really think people should have too much to say. Because being on Instagram and having podcasts is cool, but what are we really doing out here to show these kids this is what you can be and this is what your resources are?
That's right.
So I want to address your first point. I grew up without a father. My mother, the first time I was aware of, I didn't fully understand it, but in hindsight, I realized that my mother was addicted to drugs. I was 8 years old, right? I'm going to fast forward to when I made my choice to go into a life of crime. I made that choice an uneducated choice because one, there was a lack of resources, a lack. I wasn't aware of all the things that some people are aware of because my world was very, very small. The circumstances that I was in. I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. I went to school. I was, and my grandma always says to this day, she's like, I never had to wake him up. We moved from Bed-Stuy to Brownsville. I used to wake up every morning, 6 o'clock. I still get up every day early in the morning without an alarm clock and get on the bus and go to school. Nobody had to do anything for me. I love school. But then once I graduated from 6th grade and went to 7th grade, now I had to go. That's when they first started the zoning for schools. So now I had to go to a junior high school, not the one that I was accepted to in that I chose, which was a school called Satellite 4 downtown for gifted young people. I had to go to the neighborhood junior high school, which was IS 271. For years, generations, and it's still going on to this day. I'm considered from downhill and uphill. It's always been a conflict. Like before it was gangs, it was just up the hill and downhill. So now here I am, this good kid. Now I'm being put in this situation where grown men are coming into schools with guns. Like running up in our classroom fighters. We fight, I'm 12, 13 years old, I gotta fight a grown man. Those are circumstances that no child can think his way out of. If you don't have the proper support, if you don't have someone telling you like, look, okay, you have other options. If you don't have it, then you can. There's no such thing as you have a choice. You have to survive. It's not a choice. It's not really. I don't know.
The decisions we want to make. And I want to say this with no disrespect. We are 2024, and these schools are running different. We got kids in drill music. We didn't have that back then in our age. You know what I mean? And one thing I dislike about a lot of people that say that they do the work is that they focus on these 20 years ago. We need to focus on now and what's occurring in these schools. You understand? I think that too many times we stand away from the gang talk. The gangs are running the schools. And until we identify that issue and get into those schools and identify who the gang members and who are the leaders, these kids are never going to be safe. These kids are never going to have the option to sit there and say, I have this choice. Mm-hmm. And when we say to them, here are resources, what resources are we really giving them? Pamphlets to say, hey, come here and hang out after school? That's not good enough.
So what do you think about what Mike was talking about earlier about the curriculum? So like outside of we know some of the problems because being hungry in school is a problem, gangs is a problem. So what about the curriculum? What about what they're being taught? The ones who are listening, the ones who are having a chance to learn. What do you think about that?
I think that many of the educators in our school system don't really care because if they did, they would identify with these problems before we even recognize the problems, right? Because when a child goes into school, they're going into a classroom, and that teacher can identify that kid has a problem. Anybody could sit in a classroom of 30 kids, and we can tell which one is lacking food, which one isn't doing too well at home. This is something that these teachers are aware of, and they're silent. So if there's anything that we need to do, we need to blame these teachers on not saying anything to the principal to say, hey, this child might be a concern. There seems to be an issue in the grades. We're not getting that. It's deep, and it's political. And yes, I have an unpopular opinion, but it's well respected because I come with receipts and I play no games. You know what I mean? It's we need more people like myself that are going to speak truth without fear and that are really interested in doing the work without a check.
That's right. And not worry about losing funding for saying the right thing.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the problem.
Listen, man, I'm with you on that.
I don't got time to be a puppet. You know what I mean?
I'm with you on that.
So no one is going to sit there and puppet me because they're giving me $1. And that's what's going on in our communities. But it is what it is.
That's another show. That's another show. We'll join your show when you talk about that.
We got
I do a lot of talking because as you see that man dropped, I don't know what was that for, but
no.
He's bad.
This is a bad signal.
Okay.
You don't have an unpopular opinion here. Don't think that because you're bringing you're bringing another opinion. Like I want to hear it. So now I know that hunger is an issue. I knew hunger was an issue, but I don't. The way Prince was saying it, he was saying it was like that's the only issue and that's the biggest issue. There's other things too.
It's a starting issue because if we start our day day, the first thing we should start with is breakfast.
Absolutely.
And if we don't have breakfast, we're all angry.
Hangry. Everybody's hangry.
Going into school like that.
Everybody's hangry. You know what I'm saying? But then you got the gang members, right? They run into schools.
They hungry too.
And you got
they hungry too.
They hungry for prey. They hungry for these young kids that have no family.
Right.
They're hungry for the kids that are looking for a name. They're hungry for kids that have no self-love.
Right.
And until we address that issue, our streets are never going to be safe.
Parents. It takes a village. So these kids in particular community, Brownsville, Brooklyn, are different. They have to grow up very fast due to their circumstances. And it's not just parents. It takes a village community. It's not just about blame. Well, we're not just blaming. The blame got to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to figure out where it's coming from.
That's where the blame needs to go. The politicians that fund our community organizations that are supposedly here to help the youth. That's what we need to blame, because there are no real audit trails to say how that money is being spent. And we don't need a resource of a T-shirt and a pamphlet. We need resources of job employment, teaching these kids how to write resumes, teaching these kids how to be professional, how to dress professional, how to speak professional,
how to show respect.
Real money.
They're not showing respect.
I'm going to say, I got a problem with community organizations. I'm going to say it. You know what I'm saying? I think even like with church, right? They say like the church, the real work for the church is in the community, not on Sundays when people come in and everybody prays. Like they should be out in the communities, right? And I feel like the every time there's an organization made, because I have a 501c3 and I never even put it out there or use it, because I'm like, yo, I can't avail myself to people and be available all the time. I don't want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it because it's hypocritical to me. You know what I'm saying? There's a ton of resources out there, and they give it to these people, and then I have to fight with organizations for kids that's coming.
Winston, you can tap in if you want. Send me your email address. You can tap in.
One of us, so we want to do it over here.
You sound like you got a good opinion.
And I know that it's not working for them. And I'm literally talking about specific organizations that say they can have these hundreds of thousands of dollars to do certain things, right? But then I do it with my own money, and it's a problem. So what happens? You get blacklisted.
Well, that's what happened to me. But let me see. Well, I can say this to you is that I'm very unpopular with what I say. Everyone knows this. This is how This is how I became who I was. I became so unpopular in an opinion that was so needed in our community.
Right.
They gave me the wings I needed without them even realizing it, right? And now it's come to the point where they have to come to me and say, we need your help. And that's what's going to happen, because real recognizes real, and real would never decrease to these fake people. You know what I mean? And I say there needs to be a whistleblower campaign on these organizations, because it's a circle. You know, the person that's in charge of giving this money out is friends with Mayor Adams. That's a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? No one should be in charge of giving money out and having an organization that's being funded from that funding. You know what I mean? But nobody's ready to step up and do that. And it will happen, because I'm unafraid, I'm unapologetic, and I'm good. I don't have to.
This is not just New York City. This is not just New York City. This is all over the country, because I travel all over the place, and this is happening everywhere. Kids
we gotta start in our city first, you know, and I gave a pledge to my community and to the youth to actually do what I say, and that's just me. I'm a woman of my word, and I'm gonna continue on this journey, being, you know, the one woman army that I am. And, you know, that's just it. We need real people in this world, and we don't have too many of them. And I'm not going to give up on the youth because we have crooked politicians in office. You know what I mean?
If you had a magic wand, right, what was the first thing you would do right now? Like, if you had the resources you needed, what was the first thing you would do?
You know, I would say it
Check
here,
your email,
but I don't like talking too much because a lot of my ideas are stolen. That's why I say I have the blueprint to New York City. I had the largest youth event in New York. No one can ever say they topped that. But I will give you that, Jewel. I would have a community center. And I'm going to have a community center. I will have a community center. That's on my agenda, you know, and it's going to be something different. It's not going to be a PAO. It's not going to be what you think it is. It's going to be something completely different, where these kids are going to want to come to this place, because I have that gift that it doesn't matter where I go, these kids take to me, you know, and that's how I know I'm a vessel of God. It's not something that I wanted to do. It's something that I'm designed to be for God, to give this word to these kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not easy for me, because I have a lot of people against what I say, But at the same time, I know that God is strong and he always makes a way. And it will be a time where I will get that community center and I will make that difference in my community.
You don't have any alliances with you in the city? None?
I have a lot of connections. You know what I mean? I'm pro law enforcement. That's what makes me the oddball in this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I am pro law enforcement and I don't have a problem saying that. Because at the end of the day, when that person takes that badge off, that's somebody's mother, son, father, husband, daughter. You know what I mean? These are people doing a job, and not everybody is corrupt. But if we don't hold that accountability and we don't have that connection, how are these people going to feel safe in our communities?
Right.
I want to make it clear too. I do not hate law enforcement. I am pro law enforcement as well, but I don't like bad apples because I don't think that you can have a bad apple who flies a plane. So you shouldn't have a bad apple who carries a gun. So I am part of a citizen that we do work in conjunction with finding these missing children. Mm-hmm. One thing I want to say is that when I started the sneaker drive a few years ago, when I realized that sneakers was a problem in the community, that kids was shooting each other over Jordans and shit like that. Yes, so I said, you know what? Let's give them out. Let's give sneakers out. You know what I'm saying? When I opened up the car wash and I hired all the kids that nobody wanted to hire in the community, and everybody started to love on them because they saw that they was regular kids and they wanted to work and make money just like everybody else. So I realized that resources was a problem. And then I tried to start a campaign that probably 99% of people ignored it when I said, let's do comprehensive gun buybacks where we give kids $1,000 for the gun. You know what I'm saying? Instead of $200 for a gun that they pay $600 for. Well, that's not realistic. Oh, they're going to go buy more guns. Well, we buy those too. And you know what I'm saying? Then we keep buying them until you stop the pipeline of guns coming in. You know what I'm saying?
And I think people really need to understand that those guns are really destroyed. I spoke to someone in the DA's office and I asked that question. Where are those guns really going? Because that's the reason why people don't want to come to your desk and give you a gun.
Right.
And you know what she said to me? She said, my father was killed 25 years ago. And every time a gun touches my desk, I want to know if that's the gun that killed my father. But I'm not allowed to find out because I have to destroy that gun. And I think that's something that people need to know. You know what I mean? I don't think people realize that is really happening. And she works for the DA.
Yeah, because I didn't believe that. I didn't believe they destroyed anything. You know, in my eyes, I always think that it's an ulterior motive, and
when
people
she said
don't
that she had tears in her eyes,
responsible.
I couldn't even believe it because I was questioning that myself, and she's like, "No."
Yeah, but even if they destroy the guns, you still could take more money and go find somewhere to when I came home, it was easy for me to get a gun and get a job. You know what I'm saying? It was easy for me. As long as I had the money, I couldn't buy a job. But I can definitely buy a gun. You know what I'm saying? So drying out that pipeline of these guns coming in, because if you buy 1,000 guns for $1 million, that's 1,000 people's lives that we might have saved. You know what I'm saying? So, but why is it so hard to raise $1 million to get 1,000 guns, but you could raise $1 million to put a fountain in the middle of a Central Park that you don't need?
Well, that goes to what Steve was saying, that it's another plan that's out here that they got us part of. And it's up to us as a community. That's why I'm glad you tapped in. Thanks for tapping in, because you giving us answers, and then we're part of your movement. You're part of our movement. It's a community. We're talking about things that people don't, the unpopular things to talk about. That's what we talk about. So,
and people need to understand that when I became pro law enforcement, it was a mistake at first. You know,
why?
What happened was, it's a crazy story. Many people don't know why and how, because my connection with law enforcement is top ranked. I know all the sergeants, I know all the detectives, I know everybody that's running every union. And it happened during the George Floyd protests. They had called me to do a march, and I knew it was about 20 churches involved. And when I got there, all you seen was NYPD, right? And I'm like, wow, what's going on? And it happened to be that NYPD and the churches were going to march across the Brooklyn Bridge for peace. And that was the same time that BLM was on the other side. I don't know if you guys remember that time where the cops were being hit with poles and the metal poles and all that kind of stuff. They showed it. I was walking on the bridge that day, and I didn't know what was going on the opposite side. So, people were against NYPD walking because of what happened to George Floyd. But at that moment, I felt like this is what we're going to do to push humanity forward. Because if they don't step up to say what was done was incorrect and they want to march in solidarity, when are we ever going to have them stand up and say something is wrong? So I stood up for that. And when I did, it gave them chills because they said we never had someone that wasn't NYPD actually understand that we're human.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Steve, get off for a second. Let Brief on Grief tap on for a second because he has something to say to this young.
Why did I?
Who's that?
So Steve is a NYPD sergeant who blew the whistle.
Yo.
And then now he's been charged with a crime that he didn't commit.
So
he's fighting right now. He's going back and forth, but he wants to tap in. But Brief on Grief, he wants to tap in.
He's gonna tap in. Yo, I got my man Winston. He's been in. Winston, go ahead.
Hold on a minute.
Now he say, hold on. You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. No, hold on a second. You gotta hold tight, kid. No, Winston has been working in the school system, just like T was working in the school system for all that time. And I kind of want to know what they got to say, but Winston ain't ready yet. Brief on Grief, go ahead.
Hey, gentlemen, lady, how are you?
That's good.
I wanted to jump on before she jumped off. I noticed she keeps saying that her opinion is not popular. I think that first, that's probably what's needed because the same thing to get the same results hasn't helped. But the reason I wanted to jump on before she jumped off is because I wanted to get some information from you of, especially financially, how we can help. I've known Mike a long time. I currently live in Atlanta, and I pastor a church in the Bronx. And I want to know, because this is one of the things for me, how I can help with the work that God really wants done. So I wanted your information to see how we could be a financial blessing to what you're doing.
Wow, that'd be amazing. Well, what I'm working on right now is actually creating a mural for the families. If you want, you can look at my page after this. The mural is going to be a location where all families that have been affected by gun gang and street violence, it will be their place of like remembrance. Every holiday, every birthday, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm looking for a building that I can put this beautiful mural on because I have the artist.
Okay.
I'm going to pay for it myself because I don't want to ask any city official for it. I don't want them to feel like they're involved in that. Mm-hmm. It's too sacred for me. So we can probably work on that because that's going to be something really big. It's not going to be just kids from the Bronx. It's going to be kids from all over. I've been working with families since 2011. So, you know what I mean? It's kids from back then that been killed. So, you know, I'm willing to work with anybody that's pure-hearted and has a good reputation because I'm big on that as well. Like, I don't put myself around too many. I'm very big on that. You know what I mean? I don't play with my name and my brand and what I do for the people. So I'm open as long as there's purity here and, you know, we have a full understanding on what the mission is.
Okay. Well, that won't be an issue at all. So I'll definitely get your information and
follow up. I'm really good friends with Prince. I turn to him all the time when I need some answers or if I need some guidance on certain things and situations in the community.
Okay, and Mike, I also wanted to say, Prince was saying he mentioned the church as far as the church doing the work on the outside, and as a pastor, I will say that I agree 100% with them, and it's kind of full circle because before I became a pastor, the church that I'm currently at, me and my wife. And this gets back to Prince's point, Mike, and please don't think I'm just always supporting Prince.
That's all good.
This is the point where Prince was making about food. I'm gonna tell you the power in what he said, right? Me and my wife was attending a church prior, and we find out there's a shelter that these kids every Friday they leave, they go back to the shelter, but they don't have food for the weekend. And so me and my wife was like, wow. So in the radius in Queens where I used to be, there were 3 big churches right around this school. And I remember sitting there with the trustee board and I said, hey, I would like us to donate money weekly to feed these kids. They got to go to the shelter. These kids needed stuff like Pop-Tarts, Mike. They just needed cereal, simple stuff that most of our kids have. And the church looked at me and was like, we'll give back to you. Long story short, they never got back to me. So me and my wife, out of our own pockets, funded and fed these kids over the weekend. Yeah. And it was just such a great joy to see these kids lined up, just waiting because there was going to be food for them. And those same kids, it was a proven fact, those same kids that came on Monday now with food over the weekend, they did a whole lot better in school. They had no fights because nobody's coming in angry. Nobody's trying to steal something from nobody. Nobody feels less than. The kids' pressure went down. So I think that it's a powerful tool, and I do agree with both of them, young lady and Prince, that food is something that starts our day. But I will say, getting back to your original question when you was asking about what can be done, I believe she does it. I believe Prince does it when he mentors. These kids have to have safe spaces, man. And teachers and educators and people present those safe spaces. And when I mean a safe space, I mean often not something that triggers them by what they've already endured at home.
Right.
So, and as one who, when I was living in New York, used to coach football all the time, I remember having a kid on my team, and he just was different than the rest of the kids. So I learned that he was the one kid you couldn't scream at because that's all he got at home was people yelling and screaming at him. I had to feed him before practice. Now the same kid that used to be disrespectful to everybody else that said, "Oh, just kick him off the team." I said, "No, let me find out what's wrong with the kid.
That's right.
What's really going on?" And so all I had to do, Mike, was bring this kid some food in the morning, and all I had to do was talk to this kid in a way that didn't use a high tone, and this kid would do anything that I needed him to do.
It's about respect. It's all about teaching and learning respect.
And it's also about letting them feel like they're being heard.
That's right.
That they're being understood without judgment. You know what I mean? Because like I said earlier, I hate to hear when people say, if you grew up with, my mother wasn't an addict my whole life. I worked for Forbes. I've worked for the New York Times, the NFL. I don't even have a college degree. I dropped out of college. So when I hear that shit, it gets me so angry because it's like, stop putting that on people. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's a choice. And if you have the right people that are going to guide you and show you how to do this, then you can be anything you want to be in this world. And that's my message to the kids.
Brief on agree. Before you go, I just want to share a quick story. When I came home, I did this like presentation in front of like 100 social workers, right? And I wanted, because I was meeting with these kids and they was going to see these social workers, and I was trying to like align with them to see how can we connect with each other, to see what we can work with these kids together, right? And I realized one thing that, and it's unfortunate, but social workers look at the kid as a caseload and not as a human, right? Yes. And when they put all of these kids in the same box as caseloads, they put them all in the same box. Like they're not all hungry, right? They're not all being abused. They're not all being. So if you don't individually learn them, you can't individually help them, right? We can't approach this situation as a group project. You know what I'm saying? That we can fix everybody under the same umbrella.
Yeah, they ain't gonna work like that.
And when I told them that you need to get rid of the word caseload, they didn't invite me back. Of course, I know I wasn't going to get invited back. You know what I'm saying? Because I said that using the word caseload, what you're doing is objectifying them. You know what I'm saying? You're making them a thing and not a human anymore. You know what I'm saying? So like, oh, and they said the same thing to me. Oh, you don't got no masters in social work. I didn't want it.
That's the feelings, man. Exactly. That's emotions. Winston, what you got, Winston?
Hey, good morning, y'all. First of all, Mike.
Take care. Have a good morning. It was a pleasure speaking
with you. Thanks for tapping in.
Thank you. Peace.
Winston, what you got, Winston?
Hey, good morning, y'all. Mike, first of all, thank you for this this platform this morning and this topic of discussion. I'm all over the place, right? Because the young lady and the gentleman caller who's on right now, he said he's from Brownsville, and I currently live in that community. I'm transplanted. I'm originally South Jamaica, Queens, so I feel like, I've seen both sides, and I see both sides even today. Dealing with kids as far as coaching them, coaching basketball on a middle school, high school level. I mean, you see certain things, especially in this community. I was a community coach at Van Dyke Community Center, and so we're talking about going to the community center in the morning, and I'm going to get back on the food on the breakfast topic. A lot of kids are so, when they come, they're embarrassed to say, I got any food, because we're serving breakfast and we're trying not to, just say not to one person, hey, are you hungry? Like we're trying to let everybody know, look, the food is here for everybody, and don't be scared to ask. Yeah, it's a big the food topic is a very real thing, man. I mean, a lot of these kids go to school. My wife is a dean at a middle school here in Brownsville, and she always talks about kids being embarrassed to ask, even if they like say they had some of these kids get free lunch, but they're still looking for like a little extra lunch, and they would they're scared of being judged by their peers because you don't get food at home, or look at the way
they're cracking jokes.
they're cracking jokes, and
It's humiliation.
and it really starts like I think what's your name, brother? That was just talking from Brownsville.
Oh, that's L. L. We're gonna get L back on in a second.
Okay, so he was like, like he was saying, yo, it starts early, man. It starts in middle school. It starts in elementary school and middle school, especially. We know that, So it's just I get a little emotional because I get all over the place because I see it every single day.
What's up?
First of all, brother Winston, if you can hear me, I want to tell you that being a coach is like an ordained position in our society. You know what I'm saying? Because coaches, just like pastors, just like doctors, just like social workers, are up close and personal with our young people who really need us. And as a coach, you're able to identify some of these things that they go through. And knowing that, right? Knowing that a kid is hungry, or identifying that a kid is too embarrassed to even accept a sandwich from a teacher. And rather be angry and mad, and what you call it hangry, Mike, instead of taking a sandwich, it's a big deal because man, them kids will become killers, Mike. You know what I'm saying? They will be so angry. They anger turns into rage. You know what I'm saying? Not outrage. It turns to rage where they end up hurting somebody in the classroom, carrying a gun to school. You know how many times these kids get caught bringing guns to school throughout the school year? You know what I'm saying? Because of this right here, being bullied, because they was hungry, because they didn't have one of the newest LeBrons or something like that. It's like he said, man, I get emotional too just thinking about and hearing the brother, knowing the brother's passion, knowing that, and he probably feels like he's helpless, that he can't help everybody, and he wants to.
Right.
But like you said, so even dealing with the kids on, just say, I like to use a lot of sports analogy. So if I'm dealing with 12 kids, and each kid is his own individual person, their personalities, the way they talk, the different cultures they come from. You got West Indian kids, you got Hispanic kids. In this community, we're starting to get, there's more white kids and Chinese kids here in Brownsville, and that's for real. Don't think that they're not struggling too. That's what I see.
We get L on real quick.
Thank you, my brother. I'm from South Jamaica. I know exactly what you're talking about. I wanted to go to free lunch when my friends went. If my friends didn't go, I didn't go. You know what I'm saying? Then when my brothers and them started going, I was like, cool, we all can go. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like an embarrassing thing. But I still love free lunch. I wish I could get those cheese fishes today.
What?
But,
take the kids' food, bro.
Yo, Wince, man, thanks for tapping in, man. I appreciate you. I didn't even know you was listening. And this one I would say to everybody, you starting a podcast and you on streaming and stuff like that, there's always somebody watching. And you just never know who's watching and who's paying attention. So that's why I be big on, being your best self when you on live. Especially when you're in the check.
Mike, so you can let somebody else on, but I'm gonna stay listening.
Okay.
Yo, Big Mike, it was one of the things that L said too, and that's where food is so big. When L was saying that a lot of these kids be having to have and make adult decisions that affect them. Yeah. And the reason food is so big is because it's the one decision that most kids have to deal with and struggle with, and their parents at times don't have any control over. So most people will go, well, your kids shouldn't have to worry about what they're going to eat. But when the parents don't have the resources and they got to worry about what to eat, it's not really like they can control that and help their kids. So And the young lady that came on, please, Mike, don't forget to send me her info so I could really
I gotta get it from Prince. Once I get it from him,
I think what people do is they misunderstand her because she kept saying her opinion is not popular, and I think the perspective that I received from her just in those few minutes is there is always a difference between an explanation and an excuse. So most people have a legitimate explanation or reason why they endure what they endure. I think what her message is, despite the explanation and the reason, let's try to find a way so it's not an excuse for these kids in the future.
And I get that. I just think that some people may feel like when they express themselves, she invalidates them by saying it that way. You understand what I'm saying? So it's easy to say because I didn't fall victim to something, someone else can do it. But it's hard to put yourself in that person's shoes and see the world through their eyes and then understand the perspective that they're from. Henry Ford said it, there's some people that think they can, some people think they can't. They're both right. No one is. You understand what I'm saying? So I know I grew up with people who face like crazy odds and they never did crime, never did, but the person who did take that path and start selling drugs or did whatever is their feelings shouldn't be invalidated because they might not have been mentally equipped to do what that person did. They might not have the character. They might have not had whatever it was that person did to overcome that other person may not have possessed that particular thing at that particular time. You understand what I'm saying? And so, I think that and you get into that field where people are helping, everybody feels like they have the best solution. And my solution is number one. When it's not, because there's no one situation, there's no one size fit all. What I say to one person that like I can get on the phone if I know certain things that are happening to call, like, yo, that stop. And it'll stop. I may not be able to do that.
Prince, go over to Facebook for me. Prince, go over Facebook.
I agree. I think I will say this again. I don't know her personally, but because of the work she's doing, I don't believe that's her perspective to ever invalidate people's feelings. You make a point of trying to be understanding, but I believe her compassion and her encouragement is in the fact that people that she's telling to lace up their boots, she's on the ground helping them lace their boots up.
That's right.
See, if she was a person that wasn't helping nobody and just going, oh, don't make excuses, but she's a young lady that looks like, hey, strap your boots on, and they may look at her and go, well, this is kind of hard because of where I came from. She's going, you can do it. Let me help you strap up that boot. You strap up the other one. That's the kind of work, and I think her mindset is because with these organizations, like you guys were discussing before, they just put us in boxes, and nobody trying to help. So to me, she eliminates any invalidation for me of people's feelings because she's working to help. Now, if you ain't gonna be a solution, then I don't really want to hear what you got to say. But
she's with the people like and for the people.
But she's both. Even in that helps to
Prince, go to Facebook.
That helps to destroy the network that you need when you're trying to.
Thanks, Eb. You have a great day too.
Again, like
thanks for
what our communities face is going to take the whole community. So, shunning somebody or whatever the case may be is the wrong thing to do because that keeps that imbalance, that fracture in our community there, right? Like it's going to take a like what needs to happen in our communities to stop all this gun violence and gang violence and street violence and all this other type of violence. You need everybody. I'm like literally everybody because we are all a part of the problem and we're all part of the solution.
We got to.
Yeah, I agree. I just, again, I know she had to get off, and I just, I think sometimes too, and I see it in whether in Queens, whether in the Bronx, just being introduced to it, I see a lot of people. There are times when, and I think y'all all can attest to this, that there are times when, regardless of your situation, how you get there, and the struggles you have, that you need somebody to push you.
Right.
And it's no different than sometimes when people talk about how, Mike could be real stern, but sometimes it's the sternness, and sometimes people don't respond to just somebody always giving them an out to say, well, this is why you're here and we understand it. I think she understands that she's just going, there is no excuse for you not to, there's no excuse for you to stay there. That's
so I don't want to. I definitely get what she's saying. I'm not saying. I'm like playing devil's advocate. I know because I sit there. I'm like where I'm at right now. Right, I may not be in the street because my current situation, and this goes to my point where it's all about situations. Right, like there's certain precautions that I have to take, and where I can't go to where a shooting just happened. I'm on parole, so I can't do that. That don't mean that I care any less or that I'm any less capable of doing what anybody else is doing. But I first have to, one, secure myself. Now, I'm currently in a place where every day we get people off of, they go through the system and we get them out because we connected them with resources. So like there's multifacets to the work that's being done. What I'm saying is that most, if you sit down and you talk to most young people that are in the streets, they feel rejected, they feel unheard, they feel unseen, they feel like people don't throw them away, they feel discarded. And when you on the other side of the fence and you doing that work, but that language is still the same, where if this person is not doing or seeing what I see the way that I see it, I disregard them. That connects with them, and that makes that young person who you trying to reach like, okay, if you could do it to this person who may not be on your type of time, you can do it to me. It just, we have to be, I'm just saying, be mindful of with the messaging. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be mindful with the messaging. Like, again, there's no one section of our community that doesn't have to play a part. And if we disregard or throw away part of our community because they don't see stuff how I see it, or this, that, and other, we still a part of the problem, just in a different way.
I agree. I agree, and I think that in order for us to have choices, we have to have options. Mm-hmm. Right? And in order for us to have options, we have to have resources. And that's where it comes in that we have to be able to, like, this brother just came on here and he didn't have to, and extended himself and committed himself to sharing resources. And we do it all the time, but we do it virtually, you know what I'm saying? But when somebody come on here and say, I'm going to give you a physical resource, and I'm going to show you better than I can tell you, that's what it's about, right? Mm-hmm. And also looking at our society as a whole and saying, like, listen, there's only a small percentage of people in our communities, and we spoke about this many times, that commit crimes. Our communities are not bad, right? Most people want to work and thrive. Most people don't want to be on what Steve called it welfare. Most people want to be on their own. You know what I'm saying? Because with welfare, with public assistance, comes a whole bunch of things that they got you doing. You got to go here, you got to go here, you got to go recertify, you got to go do this, you got to go do that. And they don't want to go do that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if we can figure out how to collectively, as a unit together, help certain individuals, like, push their agendas forward, then we should. And I think one of the things, like you speak about, and we sometimes we overlook it, is building that voters block. You know what I'm saying? So we can make sure that we put the right people in position to make the right decisions for these under-resourced communities. Because what's happening now, we got the wrong people in position making the decisions for our people, and we're never going to thrive like that. If we vote on emotions, continue to vote on emotions and not on logic, then we're going to continue to have under-resourced and terrible communities. We have to figure it out.
I think it goes a step further than not even a voting block. I think you should run for office. You can run for alderman. You can run for city council. You can run for these positions.
Alderman, start there.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about you,
Minister.
I'm talking about you.
Minister Matt.
What you mean, nah? Why not?
He don't want to take on the responsibility, but he's doing it already. I don't know why you don't just.
Yeah.
All right, so
I was kind of joking with that, but
you joke seriously.
Serious on the other hand, like, we not only need to come together and pull out our strength together and but we need to stop relying on the candidates that step up. We need to put our own people in position.
Now, I agree with that. I agree with cultivating someone that we can put out there.
It's you. It's you. You're the only one.
I agree with cultivating someone.
It's
you. Know
you.
What I'm saying? That we can put forward.
It's you.
Out there, because I'm be around these politicians a lot, and it's disgusting what I see and what I hear.
It's you. It's you.
Brother, when I went to Albany, last time I went to Albany for the community not cages, and spoke to, first of all, the senator wasn't even there for a meeting that was scheduled. She sent her communication director. It was me, Judith Clark, and Lily Shapiro, that was the team leaders for our team. I was so, like, I wasn't surprised, but the issues that first it was the second look at oh man, I don't know, I got brain freezer. Second look at mandatory minimums, eliminating mandatory minimums, and something else I can't remember what it was right now. But as we sitting there talking, I realized that the person that we were talking to had no idea what we were talking about. Like the whole thing was public safety. So at one point in the meeting, I said, listen, I was like, I'm getting from you that your number one concern is public safety. And I was like, the bills that we're sitting here, we talking to you about, enhances public safety. I said, first and foremost, if let's say all three of these bills got passed today, no one will walk out of prison. There's still a process. And then we went into having to break that down, and then I saw like he kind of relaxed a little bit. But that's who is in these positions to create these laws that govern our lives. And it needs to be people that look like us, that come from where we come from, that understand us, to be in these positions of power. Because no matter how much we do, no matter how much protesting, how much work in the street and all that, like, it's gonna take the entire community, bro. Like, it's a lot of work that gotta get done.
So look,
that's why we got pastors like Briefo and Grief out there doing the work on the ground. We got Mike and we got you.
And we got you, Minister.
Yeah, we got you. You're the next alderman.
So look, on the way out, I just was, it's been bothering me for a long time, the kids and the teachers and all this stuff, and I've been seeing so much. I just was trying to get, bring some awareness to it, and kind of, I'm always planting seeds and to try to figure out a better way for us. You know what I'm saying? So we got hunger, number one, right? That's what Prince brought to the table. We got hunger is number one. We got the gangs, and we have the broken homes, right? What else? Anything else? What else was it? No resources, right?
Yeah, the lack of resources is hunger is
still on, Mike?
On one, because with resources, you don't have hunger. You know what I'm saying? So it's the lack of resources. They had this term that I made my team when I was at Life Camp stop using, was high risk youth. They had this term that they used to use called high risk youth. I said, no, we're never going to use that term again as long as I'm working here, because there's no such thing as a high risk youth. They're under resource youth. Because if they had resources, they won't be high risk. The lack of resources, the less you have, the higher risk you become.
Mm-hmm.
Wilcox just checked in.
If you don't have money to get on a bus, you're probably going to try to get on a bus with it for free and put yourself at risk. You know what I'm saying? So the less you have, and call me what you want to call me, minister, pastor, call me. The less spirituality you have, the less faith you have, the higher risk you're going to have in life as well. You know what I'm saying?
We left out
type of ground. We need to be grounded, Mike.
We left out drug abuse. We left out drug use for the kids. That's a major thing too. I forgot about it.
Oh God.
So what this conversation sounds like, if we had a time machine and we went back to 1963, the schools were going through the same exact thing.
I never smoked.
Reason
I
why
never. I never was a person that smoked in my life. But this is one thing I know, being on this earth 51 years.
That we are doing something wrong.
I'm listening.
60-something years later.
Come on, Al. Come on, Pastor L.
I'm listening.
I'm just,
No, what I wanted to say was,
hold tight, y'all. Go ahead. Winston got something to say. Go ahead, Winston.
yeah. Oh, I said I grew up. This is my 51 years on this earth, being here in New York City, particularly Brooklyn and Queens, South Jamaica, and Brownsville, with the drug epidemic. One thing I know, and I never smoked, but I've been around enough people that smoked in my life. Today's weed is definitely not yesterday's weed. I'm dealing with that on a personal level with my own son, and I know that for a fact. Just turned 17 last week. Was something of a ball player. His mood since he's been in high school, since he first picked up a blunt or weed, whatever, 2 years ago, being so moody. And Mike, if you remember me, I'm the person that I always had a joke, and I promise you that these are my kids, but that's just something has changed within the last. I'm talking about from my own person, with my own kid, his mood. But just watching these kids in general, oh my God, man! Whatever's in that weed, it's changing them, man.
Yeah.
They wake up moody. They walk around, don't say good morning. Like, you walk past me, I'm sitting here. I got your clothes ready. It's my 7. Talking about my 7. I'm not even talking about my younger kid. This is things that I'm still doing. I don't have to do it. I don't always do it. But my point is, I'm sitting. You walking past me, and you don't even say good morning. You waking up all surly, looking crazy, walking out of here crazy. Yeah, it's not the same, man. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
They think we old fuddy duddies when we talk. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
no, I don't have to.
Old now.
I don't have to smoke it, but I see it. I see it. The smell that comes from it is different.
Well, on the way out, man, I got to get out of here. Winston, you got a good word on the way out?
I just appreciate everybody's point of view this morning, because everybody definitely had a good point.
That's what's up.
We got to bring back these community centers that we had growing up, Mike, like ISC, Beacon. Got to bring those things back.
Bring back the community center. All right. Brief on grief, what you got?
I just want to say, man, thank you for allowing me to come on. I think it was a really important discussion. If you want, you got to, outside of giving me the young lady's information, please, I want to send an offering to Reverend L and Reverend Prince for always giving. But it's just I like to jump on sometimes, because I just see these brothers, and even the young lady, I just see people doing the work of God outside the walls. I'm always thankful for that.
Also, Mike, let her know we do, like, we definitely need, that's why I asked her what part of the Bronx, because we're doing a gun diversion program right now with the district attorney's office. So,
Prince knows her. I don't know her. That's Prince people.
Yeah, I can connect you. She works with Dr. Clark too. She works with her.
Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, so, yeah.
Prince, what you got on the way out? Oh, God. God, yeah.
We're not the same, man. That was my clothing line that I came out with during the pandemic. And it's simple. We are all individuals in our same way, but collectively we can do the job. You know what I'm saying? When I say we're not the same, like, we all have our own truths. Like I said in the comment to you, Mike, I said, Mike, use around all of us. Use around nothing but hustlers, robbers, gamblers, whatever. And you chose your path. You know what I'm saying? Because you're an individual. You took your own individual path. You had a strong mind. You got out of the situation without going to prison or being shot. You know what I'm saying? So I commend you for what you continue to do and what we got coming in the near future. I think that this is a platform that's exciting. It's helpful, and we got to keep doing what we're doing.
All right, y'all. Mike is gonna say, "Don't worry about yesterday. Yesterday was the past."
L didn't give no word.
Oh yeah.
L, you ain't go?
Yeah, no, I ain't
I thought you.
I'm gonna just say this. And I got this from my cousin today.
got you once.
So this is good news for some, bad news for others. During the solar eclipse, I get my superpowers. I'm coming for you. That's all I got.
All right, that's what's up. All right, so like I always say, that Prince tried to stop me from saying, but I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna keep saying it, Winston, because he always trying to, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta watch some people, right?
No
Don't
doubt.
worry about yesterday because yesterday was the past. You can't run from it, but you can learn from it. And don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's the future. You can't run to that because you're gonna be gray as all we up here except for L. He's in the time machine all those years. But what we can do is worry about today. Make today our best day, man. Hug somebody, tell them you love them. Persistence always overcomes resistance. And go hit the gym, man. Get some work in.
No
See
doubt.
y'all later.
What you said?
What?
You just said except for L. Except for L.
You don't got gray hairs.
You don't got gray hair. Yo, it's not always about a fight, L. It's not about a fight.
I'm
man.
just saying, listen, don't get mad at me. Where gray hairs come from? Hold this shit in. Let it go. You gotta say something, say it, man. Let it go.
Yeah,
Stop holding it in.
You're right. And I'm gonna take one of your lines. I don't agree with that. I'll see y'all later, man. Peace and love.
All right. Tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
One.
Winston, later.
Yes, sir.
Yo, tap in tomorrow, man. We around always. You know, I'm always in.
All right.
All right, later.